Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to another video. And today I'm very excited to announce the return of the TBR Clear Out Readathon. So, the TBR Clear Out Readathon is a readathon that I host some Aprils. I've done it 2 times before, I think, and sometimes I swap it out for other random readathons that I want to host in April, and sometimes I don't do any readathons in April at all. There is like another readathon idea I have knocking around in my mind that I will do one year, but this year I feel like what I'm in need of in my own reading life is the TBR Clear Out Readathon, and I'm sure some of you are too, and if you're not, then that is fine. I'll do it on my own and be quite content. So if you haven't encountered the TBR Clear Out Readathon before, it is a month-long readathon that takes place for the whole of April, and the idea is just to read some books on a TBR that you want to work on. So for me, that is my physical TBR, but it could be your ebook TBR, your audiobook TBR. The main idea is just to read some books that are on your like long-term TBR, to read some books that you have been meaning to get to for a while. How long a while is probably depends on the person. It might be books that you've been meaning to read for a year. It might be books you've been meaning to read for 20 years. Entirely up to you, but that is the basic idea of the TBR Clear Out Readathon. It is a very low-key, casual readathon. I probably won't be doing that many videos. I don't think I'll be doing reading vlogs necessarily. I might do a couple if I manage to have a few like reading days. There is a Goodreads group which I'll leave down below, and I will probably post on that a little bit. I don't tend to use Goodreads groups as much as I used to, but it is there if you would like to join, and I will leave it down below. Basically, the TBR Clear Out Readathon is just an excuse to focus on your TBR for the month of April. And as I said, for me personally, that is my physical TBR, and hopefully I will read lots of books that are on my physical TBR, and hopefully specifically from the shelf of books I have that have been on my TBR for the longest. So in general, the only thing you have to do to take part in the TBR Clear Out Readathon is read some books that have been on your TBR for a while that you want to read. But I do also have 7 challenges, same as last year, very simple. If you want to take part, please feel free to use them if you would like, but you don't have to. As I said, a very low-key readathon. Challenge number 1 is just to set your own TBR clear out goal. So you might say, I want to read 2 books from my long-term TBR, or 5, or 10, or 15, or 20 if you're feeling very ambitious, but set yourself a goal and try and meet that goal within the month. I'm not going to set you a numbers goal because you know what you would like to use this readathon for. Personally, my number will probably be somewhere between 10 and 15. I'll see where I get to and how busy my April is looking. Then the next few challenges all kind of come in pairs. So challenge number 2 is to read a book that has been on your TBR for a very long time. And then challenge number 3 is to read a book that has been on your TBR for a very short time. Again, as this is a low-key readathon, the prompts are all quite like ambiguous and vague. A long time might be, as I said, 20 years, might be 6 months, entirely up to you how you consider this. I think the books that have been on my TBR for the longest are probably sort of like 5 years old. There is at least 1 book on my physical TBR that I have had for 5 years that I would like to try and read in 2025 before it becomes, 6 years since I got it. Challenge number 4 is to read one of the longest books on your TBR, and challenge number 5 is to read one of the shortest books on your TBR. I do have some relatively long books on my TBR and some relatively short books on my TBR, so it will be fun to complete this challenge. And then finally, the last 2 prompts. Challenge number 6 is to read a book from your TBR that you fear you have lost interest in, and challenge number 7 is to read a book from your TBR that you are very excited to get to. I definitely feel like sometimes I have books that sit on my shelves for ages that when I bought them I was very excited to read them, but I've kind of lost interest in them over time and I'm no longer as excited to read them as I was. And then I often find that when I do read them, I really, really enjoy them. And it's a shame that I have let them languish on my TBR for so long. So that is definitely a useful prompt for me, but also sometimes it is nice to have an excuse to pick up a book that you are very, very excited for. Recently, I went to a book event and bought the book at the event and then immediately started reading it, and it was so satisfying because I feel like very often the books wait their turn to be read, and then actually sometimes that's not how it should be. So that challenge is partly there to, encourage you to just read a book that you're really, really excited for on your TBR. So there we go. The TBR Clear Out Readathon is coming back in April 2025. Very low-key, casual readathon with some prompts. Feel free to join in if you would like to. That would be lovely. If you post a TBR or anything like that, do tag me or use the hashtag TBR Clear Out. I will post a TBR video at some point towards the end of March, beginning of April, and I will enjoy reading some great books for my physical TBR come April. I don't know whether I'm just going to read books for my physical TBR in April. It probably depends what is on the Walter Scott Prize long list, which will have been announced by the time you see this, but hasn't been quite announced yet when I am filming this, and I want to read along with that long list. So it might be that I read a few books for the Walter Scott Prize that aren't for my physical TBR, but April will be mostly focused on my physical TBR. Anyway, that is all for now. Very quick video, just announcing the return of the TBR Clear Out Readathon. I'm looking forward to it this April. So thanks very much for watching. Do let me know down in the comments if you think you might take part. How old are the oldest books on your TBR? That's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.